Hi, so this is the first in my series of sort of explanatory videos about the patch. I was originally going to make just one video explaining the whole thing, but I figured it would probably take too long, you know, to go through all of this in one go, so I figured it would probably be easier to digest in like a sort of series type thing. So this video is just going to be about explaining the input devices I'm using and how the data from them is going into Max. So if I just zoom in on this, make it a little bit easier to see. This is the Kinect via Synapse sort of template that came with the download of the program, and it's the reason for the strange sort of blue version of me hanging around over there. This is Synapse itself. It has to be open if I'm running the patch, because the data gets sent directly from there over to the patch. So the data comes in here, gets sent over here as packaged X, Y and Z coordinates for each limb. I'm not using all of them because it ended up using a lot of unnecessary CPU power. So these are just the limbs that I'm using, and then I've unpacked each one and sent them out like that to send objects to be received elsewhere in the patch, rather than having a million lines and cables going everywhere in the patch, which tends to get a bit messy. And I've also got this little thing here which I made, is just to sort of have something I can open up really briefly if I need to see sort of the range of how high or low values are in terms of different limbs when I'm programming. So that's just for my own reference, really. So if I just show you how this works, I need to get into this pose here for the software to recognise me, and then as soon as those lines come up, you know you're being tracked. And then if I just turn the patch on, these values here start jumping up all over the place, and also you can see the GUI down the bottom is tracking my limbs and displaying them as little balls. So that's that section of the input. Obviously here you can see all of the relevant values for all of the limbs, what they're doing. Obviously you can't see the feet right now because it's not picking up my feet, but so that's that. The other input device I'm using is the gloves that I built, and they are coming through just here. So let's have a look what's going on here. This is the little bit of patch that they provided with the software just to get the data out properly. The only thing that I've done in this bit is add these, encapsulate the whole thing and add these outlets just so I can make it really easy to manage for me. As you can see, I'm not using all the data it produces because some of it is very, very jumpy and erratic. So what I'm using here is these are the flex sensors, so one for each finger and one for the thumb. Here I think is roll, that's right, that's roll, and here is pitch, so I'm using those two, and this one here is from the accelerometer to detect peaks in motion. So that's all of that. And I've added my own little patch here. This is quite hard to explain. What basically is going on is it detects the gesture that my hand's currently doing and I've used a lot of these if statements here because I wanted the ability to have several different gestures on each hand, but I found that I could do individual fingers easily enough, but when it came to flexing multiple fingers to make a complex gesture, it would always trigger obviously the individual fingers as well as the gesture that I was trying to do. I'm not explaining it very well, but I think you'll understand the picture through this. So here I've got all of the gestures I can pull. So that's just bending the index finger, like that. This one's just the ring finger, like that. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Basically, I've had to, so for example, I've got the ring finger and little finger here, so that goes like that. But I've had to make it so that when it detects that both the fingers are down, it turns off this one, because I don't want it sending both those messages. I just want it to say that I've got just this gesture, not this one as well. So this is what the if then statement objects do, is just to say, okay, if this one's active, then I don't want this one active, sort of thing. So it's the same story with the middle finger and ring finger, same story with the full forefinger clench and point as well. So yeah, that's just a brief explanation of how I'm dealing with the inputs, how they're all getting into Max, and yeah, there'll be more of these videos in the future to explain all the rest of this stuff. Alright, thank you very much for watching.